Diablo 4, yeah, not doing great. Season 2, yeah, still not exactly doing great there, Blizzard.
Season 2 is a trap by Hog. Let's see what Hog's got to say.
Come on, you piece of junk.
That's a nice intro.
His intros are always pretty funny.
This is basically just
True.
what I expected to see from Blizzard. Well, maybe except for the Diablo 4 is going on Steam announcement that they have, but this is just about what I expected to see. A bunch of bug fixes, quality of life, and broken feature fixes in the guise of seasonal content with a...
Say what you will about him, but he's a G. He understands. He knows what's up.
mediocre seasonal theme and powers and all that. It's a trap. The reason I say it's a trap, and I get the same feeling. This is exactly what happened in Diablo 3. This is live service in a nutshell. This is really more like live game development is what we're seeing.
By the way, I completely understand what he means. Anytime I think about Season 2, the tip of my penis also starts tingling. I completely understand where he's coming from. It's instantaneously. It's like a warning sign. It's like the spider sense, but only at one part of your body. I completely get it.
They're fixing little
True.
tiny bits, and we keep going back. All this is a trap to get you to come back for monthly active users. That's literally all this is. Yeah, there's going to be...
Yeah. I mean...
By the way, we have seen this, but it's very interesting to see what Skittles is going to say, because he is the shining beacon that is hope. And, well, not copium. He's not actually copium. But, you know, he's really hopeful. I want to see if there is any good spin on this that he can make. Is there a single shred of light at the end of the tunnel here?
I think the point is that seasons are always trying to get people to come back. That's kind of like a part of the ARPG cycle. But
well, to be fair, anything that games ever do is just to get people to come back. This is not new. This is an open secret. It's not even a secret.
he's not wrong about like quality of life being shipped as content.
There's
actual
fixes,
content,
and they
but...
made the horse go a little bit better. But if you push all that aside, okay, it's just little minor things. If you push all that aside, what has really changed in the game? Besides...
Well, we'll find out tomorrow. So, apparently damage buckets, unique items, item power level, leveling experience. I'm trying to think of things that are outside of quality of life. Fundamental broken changes like resistance.
Dude, we already watched damage buckets, and Blizzard completely has absolutely just dropped the ball on that. It's horrible. They just took critical strike, they took vulnerability, and they did the typical Blizzard thing. They course corrected so hard, those things don't even exist in the game anymore, okay? If in Season 2, if you even get a single piece of gear that says critical strike damage and vulnerability on it, you're an idiot. You're an absolute fool for having this. Yeah, Blizzard's really good at over course correction. It's insane.
New in-game bosses, reason to actually do the overworld, new seasonal powers, questline, Helltide. Those are the ones that come to mind immediately.
Duriel, which is a recycled asset, which is totally fine. You know, besides a couple other things that they showed us in the PowerPoint presentation, is it really going to hold your interest that long? Because here's the elephant in the room with the vampiric powers.
They're shit.
They're what they call them agnostic, which means everybody uses the same thing, which means there's going to be a meta, and guess how boring that's going to turn into real quick.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of metas also. I mean, it's kind of like when you watch me play games. Like a lot of times I don't copy pasta stuff. So I agree that stuff is boring unless you're playing like a
I mean, same. It's been, I don't know, 15 plus years since the last time I ever looked up a build and how it's supposed to work. And then I even did it like 1 or 2 times in my life. But Diablo 4 is such an easy game, you don't even have to look up the meta. You're gonna end up doing the meta. Anyway, because there's just not enough choices at the moment.
competitive 5v5 game or something. However, that is kind of gaming, right? I mean, that's kind of I feel like that's also kind of the genres we're in, like ARPGs, MMOs, shooters. I mean, dude, even mobile games have metas. I feel like metas are just a thing, and I mean, not just gaming, but I mean, doesn't like racing and stuff have metas too? Like, what kind of cars you use, etc.
That's going to be a board.
I mean, the word meta by itself is not actually a bad thing, because everyone likes the meta. You like the meta, even if you don't look up the meta online. Because the meta is just the strongest thing. And guess what? The strongest thing feels always the best. That's why it becomes the meta, because everyone wants to play the strongest thing, because that's the most enjoyable one. At least in these type of games. Now, there are exceptions, but still.
Or festival.
Oh, whoa, it's metas.
So, adding a streamer mode for the 193 channels that stream this, and adding an extra stash instead of a stash tab, and making gems and material. Like, do you notice how ridiculous they go out of their way to do things and make it overcomplicated? We didn't care about having a damn gems go to materials, and then it makes this thing like that's just another way for us to spend more money in the game. Not real money, gold. Yeah. I just want a tab. I just want a gem tab. All they do is put a gem tab. They can't do that because...
Well, I fully agree with this. You're not going to hear any argument here. Like, I think the stash tabs, gems, are unanimously agree. In fact, I don't think I've seen almost anybody that argues against the fact that stash tabs are bad. Gems should have been fixed.
I mean, you can probably find someone who's going to argue that stash tabs are bad. There's a bunch of people online who are arguing that Starfield's a good game. We called them delusional.
In the game, resistances should have been fixed. Like, there's a lot of these, I don't want to call issues, but like all agreed upon points that were undercooked when the game actually launched. And these are the ones he are listing out. I completely agree. These are part of them. Like, these are ones that I believe 99% of players will agree should have been in the game on launch.
But so that's why we got another stash in every major capital. So what does that mean? 2 extra stashes? What I wanted to see was changes to the game, right? Because if you don't play season, then none of this matters. And I know a lot of y'all are going to say, well, who doesn't play season? Well, there's a lot of people that don't play season.
Well, so I would love to see changes to the game.
They will in time. Someone who doesn't play season is just one step away from playing season.
Well, I hope he does get into the parts where there are changes to the game. And by changes to the game, I believe he's referring to new content, as in new playable types of content. So I'd love to see his opinion on those. So I kind of want to see if he gets into it here.
I cruise around still, and I check Facebook, and I check the forums and stuff. And there's people that just don't care to play these lame-o seasons. But there's nothing to add besides a couple bosses that you're going to get bored with, just like y'all got bored of the world bosses. There was no new world bosses. Yeah, they reduced some timers and stuff. That's just number adjustment.
Yeah, I don't think the problem with world bosses is that there's no new world bosses. It's the fact that they're stupid and lame. World bosses are the most feeblest attempt at being Lost Ark without understanding anything that makes Lost Ark a good game.
Adjustments. I think really what it
But admittedly, again, Diablo 4 can never be complicated, okay? I have seen people die to world bosses. I have not once died to a single world boss without knowing anything what they do, because the mechanics are blatantly obvious, stupid, and dumb. They're not challenging at all. So, adding 5 more world bosses that might as well just not move and, take a couple of minutes to kill depending on the situation, that's the equivalent. Adding new world bosses doesn't change anything.
Is I'm really sick of the basic skill, like the generator spender combo. Why couldn't we got some new skills? Why couldn't we have gotten reworked items or set?
We did get new skills for all characters with the agnostic ones he mentioned earlier.
Yeah, those are not skills.
Like the agnostic nature of it because it becomes meta.
Wait, DM, those are not skills. All of the vampiric powers are just failed passive attempts. Every vampiric power is very much literally plus X damage, plus X defense. There's absolutely nothing unique about it. You are just gonna put the most biggest multipliers that you can find amongst the vampiric paupers, and that's it. You're gonna forget that they exist. And guess what? Considering they are all the same and there's no class unique ones, well, the first moment you figure out which 5 are the best ones, guess what? You're gonna instantaneously just put the exact same 5 for every other character that you potentially play. That's it. The vampiric paupers are not new skills. You can't say that even if you really, really want to.
I hear a little bit of conflicting information in terms of whether he wants and whether he does not want. I feel like if we add new skills and the new skills are bad, then it's great. We got 15 new skills and they're all dog shit. No one will ever use them. But if we get 15 skills and they're all like god tier, then the complaint will be that they're meta. So I agree a lot with the beginning of what he's saying about being a live service game and quality of.
I think that's honestly, that would be a fair complaint because you need to understand one thing. Well, Blizzard could actually give us fair, balanced, and good new skills for classes to use and choose and play with. But the thing here is either they're going to be overpowered or they're going to be underpowered. Think about it. It's Season 2. And the base abilities for each class are still absolutely busted. You still have sorceresses who can only be played with ice shards and everything else is just 10 times weaker and it's not even comparable. And, other classes have the same issues, Some skills are just blatantly garbage and never even worth considering. Admittedly, they're gonna change some of those things, but, Blizzard changing things means, well, we still haven't played our game, and we're gonna just look at an Excel spreadsheet and then, do something, and hopefully that works out.
Live features being shipped out shouldn't be considered content. I don't consider them content. I believe those should be done and shipped. It's just as the game is being built, like as soon as they can fix it, like most games, they fix bugs live. But I also do believe he is somewhat giving some of what he's asking for.
Yeah, sir. Like basically what they're doing is they're just drip feeding us just little content so we'll log on to make sure they hit their monthly active users number.
Well, that's true.
Right? Which is another reason why it went to Steam, because they count outside stuff as a separate metric that they can tie in with the monthly active users.
Yeah, probably true as well.
Gives them more monthly active users for the platform, and they're going to just continue to just, hey, here's this, here's this, here's this. And guess what? You get back on the train and you ride it in and you give them the numbers they need, and then the next month there'll be an XP boost event. And so you'll log on again to see what that is, and then the next month there'll be the next season. This is just
okay. True. So there is one fundamental point that I want to address here, which is sometimes I do see the point that Blizzard doing something to bring the player base back is often used as like a weapon against Blizzard. It's like, oh, they're just doing this to bring us back. And my argument to that is yes.
The caveat here is yes. The answer to that is yes. But the difference here is Blizzard just does random goofy, crazy things and shit like that because they have no idea how to do anything not goofy, crazy, and absolutely out of the bag because they can't balance their own things. I have said this once and I will say it a million times more. Blizzard has not balanced a single one of their games for the past 20 years. Closest they have ever gotten to balance was Heroes of the Storm. That's kind of okay, right? But that game completely died, obviously. And second is not World of Warcraft, but StarCraft 2. And StarCraft 2 is still arguably not really balanced because there are tons of issues even still to this day in the competitive scene, especially in the late game. And, well, StarCraft 1 is balanced, but that's StarCraft 1. That doesn't even count. That's 3,000 years ago at this point. But yeah, Blizzard has never balanced a single game that they have made properly. They have done feeble after feeble attempt at balancing, but nothing really has even come close to being balanced. Blizzard will never balance anything properly ever, because I don't think a single dev ever even tries to play their own game.
I don't really understand why that's normally considered an argument. The concept is we're not playing the game because it's not good. And if they try to add stuff into the game, we're going to kind of go back to see if it's good. So a lot of times it's multiple people will use this argument, and I don't necessarily see it as something that's an issue. Like if I made a game and people quit my game, I would want them to come back to my game. In fact, very often
Yes, but you would want them to come back to your game by adding something new, something good, something that people want. Blizzard doesn't do that. Blizzard just adds new random things that have the same problems that the old things had.
I make videos because I want people to come back to my channel, or I will go live again with a new game, new content reacts, such as we're doing now, what have you, because I would like people to come back to my stream. So I do think it's somewhat the same thing, and I don't necessarily use that as like a burden of proof for them being bad at creating a game. I will accept the other arguments, absolutely, but that one not as much.
That's how they're going to keep doing it until the expansion comes, where they're going to give you Monk and Paladin, and then a couple extra things, and charge you $50 for it. And then just keep going and going to where we're at about season 9, and we're like, damn, the game's pretty good. And that's how...
Yeah, I get what he's saying about bleeding the content through. I do think they purposely bled through, like, some of the content throughout the seasons as well. I can understand that. Maybe they had the bosses ready. I don't know. Maybe they're putting into season 2 so that way they have time to build out the rest of the game. I think it's obvious the game was undercooked when it launched. Like, I don't think it was completed. And they probably...
Yeah, I'm a proponent of that way of thinking. Diablo 4 was 100% without question. Fully 100 billion% completed. The devs thought it's at its peak. The devs thought it's completely cooked. Okay? Because when people got to play the open betas, the open alphas, and all of that stuff, Blizzard had already moved past those versions of the game. They didn't care about your feedback, so they essentially... The game was 100% completed in Blizzard's eyes. It's just the problem that no one at Blizzard cared to actually play test their product, and it sucked. But the game was 100% completed. Blizzard thought that this is it. This is all of it.
Probably had to separate out stuff to buy themselves enough time to continue to create the content. I agree with these points he's making.
How they do it. It's live service at its finest, live development. This is just a big mousetrap. That's all it is. Because what's going to happen is you're still going to get in there. You're going to play with the same old, same stuff, except for the seasonal powers, which is going to be gone in 3 months. And there's going to be a meta on because they're used against or across every character in the game. And then you're going to sit here in about a week and you're going to go, well, damn. Because it's the same thing with D3. I went back and I played the last season, or the season that's going on right now, and I got to 70 and I was like, I'm good. And that's
Yep.
What's going to happen again. But as long as they got their number count for the month, they're good.
Yeah, for them from their side for sure. I also would be curious to hear, because he did play Diablo 3 to 70. Did he enjoy Diablo 3 to 70? Because a lot of times, what I wonder too is, if you can't play a game forever, does that mean you still enjoy the time while playing it? Because I enjoyed Diablo 4 while I was playing it, and now that I don't believe Diablo 4 has continued to keep my interest, I have not been logging in. That doesn't invalidate my experience in the beginning, because I liked it in the beginning when I was playing it at the start. I still don't think the game...
Yes, 100% agreed. I call Diablo a shit game, but yeah, you know, it is. It 100% is, but I did get my enjoyment out of it, you know? I said this at the start. I'm gonna play this until I get bored, then I'm probably never gonna log in again until the next season. Then season 1 comes around. Well, you know what? Guess what? It's shit. Okay? I played probably for 8 hours, but that's still 8 hours. That's good. That's more than Starfield ever will gonna get out of me. You know? And the next season, gonna play it again. If it's better, maybe I'll play 15 hours. Who knows? That's probably the equivalent of me playing the game for roughly three weeks or something, if we're being honest. Because, you know, I can't play Diablo longer than an hour because I get bored. But, you know, that's just my problem, maybe. Who knows, right? I'm getting my money's worth. And you know, when Diablo runs out, I'm gonna go play Last Epoch, Path of Exile, or, well, no, those are my only two options. Because I like those games. Simple. Really simple.
Game is like absolutely the worst game ever created. I think it's a somewhat shallow ARPG, and hopefully they will fix that. But I don't... Having a significant lack of an in-game didn't previously make it where I didn't enjoy myself while playing the beginning of it, if that makes sense.
So, again, it's just, he managed expectation, 2 hours of live stream for this one live stream. We're going to have 2 hours the next time. And it was a PowerPoint presentation about broken things in the game, like teleport to the Nightmare Dungeon, now puts you in the Nightmare Dungeon.
Yeah, which
so
I
basically,
like.
they created a problem, and then the next season they fix the problem. And then they say, look how good we did. And everybody eats it up like, oh, man, it's getting better every time.
Okay, fair enough point. They did create the problem of making the teleport go outside the dungeon. I get that.
They created all the problems.
I don't really think it was so this content. I think it was so this feedback, would be my opinion, where they created something that people liked, which was teleporting to the dungeons. That was well received.
No. They are marketing all of these bug fixes as content. It's undeniable. You can look at the announcements, you can look at the presentations, you can look at what they're talking about. They are marketing bug fixes and things that they fucked up and now are kind of fixing in the right direction as game fixes and as content. There's no denying it.
Received. Feedback came in that said there's a way to make it better. They said, oh, okay, you're right. And then they did that thing. I'm not necessarily opposed to this, and I don't really see it as a tinfoil hat of they purposely warped us outside because they knew this would give them a W on the back end to do it again, to then take the feedback. I see it as...
Oh, that's true. No. This is 100% true. He's 100% right about this. They didn't do it intentionally. They didn't make it intentionally fuck it up. They're just incompetent. That is what it is. They're just incompetent and stupid. And then they can't, and then they're too arrogant to accept the fact that they are incompetent and stupid, so they don't want to fix that. Because honestly, teleports you in front of the dungeon and you need to go into another loading screen, that predicted Starfield before Starfield happened, okay? And that's bad. You don't want to be Starfield. If your game has any similarities with Starfield, your game's shit. It is what it is. It's just the way of life, you know? Something about a cycle of living and death and whatnot. But a normal game developing company who doesn't have their head up in their a-hole would instantaneously fix it. Day one, they would probably fix... Well, they would announce it on day two, the fix, and patch it in. But yeah, that's what they would do. They would instantaneously fix it. Oh, we made it so you can teleport to the dungeon. Oh, it's outside and you need to load again and it's stupid. Well, odd bad, now you're inside the dungeon. But no, they take 1 billion years to fix this. Okay? It makes no sense.
Hey, if we all think they're not so amazing at their job of creating the game, maybe they made a mistake the first time. And when they made this warp outside the dungeon, they didn't see the in-game plan of warping inside is better. So when people had the feedback, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we can. Maybe they didn't realize it. You know what I mean? I think never contribute to malice while you can to, what is it, ignorance? I think it's kind of one of the lines. That's kind of how I see a lot of this development stuff.
This
like,
time,
I don't
that's
necessarily
true.
think the quality of lives are purposely being held back because I don't think they want their game to die. Like, I don't think they necessarily want to piss people off every minute they're in the game. So when they add something in the game that makes people annoyed, I don't think that's necessarily they're doing that on purpose so that they can solve the annoyance later and call it content.
Of course,
But that's what it then says.
It's just, they're going to do this every time. They did it with D3, they're going to do it with D4, they'll do it with D5, they'll do it with D8. Just the way it is.
I agree with.
But yeah, that's. I mean, I don't need to tell you what happened with it. Everybody knows. A lot of people watched it. It was boring, and yeah, there were some good things, but it's to be expected. There wasn't anything that blew my mind. And Rod talked about that there was going to be so much stuff that it was going to be the greatest season, and it's just more of the same.
Well, Rod's going to be a hype man for the game that he actively is a part of. I don't understand why he wouldn't hype up his own game. Makes sense. They're trying to sell the product. In terms of content, I normally kind of wait till it comes out to see. So if we're adding new in-game bosses, and these in-game bosses...
He's trying to defend Blizzard, but it's not happening. I don't think people will ever be happy with this, though.
There's rewards, which you have to have rewards in order for a boss to actually matter. Then if we're adding rewards to bosses, the rewards need to feel good. Unique items are the targetable rewards from these bosses. Unique items currently do not feel good. Therefore, new bosses equal does not feel good. That is my current opinion of it. However, if the unique items are good, like if they rework the unique items and actually show us how they're going to handle damage buckets and unique items, then the farming of the bosses, if the bosses are both enjoyable, the process of unlocking the bosses and the rewards for them are all enjoyable, then we would have an enjoyable, repeatable process. I myself would rather farm bosses than farm the same dungeon. However,
yeah,
I understand his point.
Makes sense. And that's going to happen.
About, they're sort of bleeding on the content. It's hard for me to say because it's how much do we say that they're purposely bleeding content? How much is it that they're developing it at the time? I don't know. I'm not the one who's making the game. I think it's obvious the game got released kind of early, and they probably had 6 months of content on the backlog.
Also, where the fuck is his hair? Did he put it in the hoodie? Do you do that? That seems strange for some reason. I don't have long hair, so I can't really comment, but is that what you do?
Fine. Not completely done, but they're working on it. I've seen in other games, when I was in content creator programs, I've seen in other games that they purposely had stuff developed that would be released as a drip at a time. I have seen that happen before in games, so I don't deny the possibility.
That's it.
And that was our boy Hog. I'm going to go ahead and paste this video link. I like Hog. Actually,
yeah. Hey, he's right about most things. He was super wrong about one thing, but I already forgot what it was. But, he's right about most things. Guy's smart. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said, and this was everyone's favorite Skittles, also known as DM, but that's less known, See, he usually has long hair. I don't know what he did here. Did he put it in the hoodie? Do you do that? I'm really confused, not gonna lie. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said. Thanks for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.